Hey guys, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a knife review for you. And today we are looking at what is probably the coolest and best Kizer that I have ever handled. This is the carbon fiber Begleiter. Now, this is a model that's gotten quite a bit of traction for Kizer. It came out a number of years ago, probably 4 years ago or more. There was a Vanguard model that I actually had and liked quite a bit. Then last year they came out with the higher end titanium frame lock version, and this year they have the carbon fiber. Now, by the way, I did check, and Justin over at White Mountain Knives has these in stock over there, so you could use my discount code Sharp Stuff and save 10%. This never works out, guys, so I hope that I don't make myself into a liar, but literally 5 minutes before recording this video, I checked and he did have both the carbon fiber and the titanium in stock. Now, I have to say that I've been a little remiss. I meant to pick up the titanium version when it first came out, and I sort of missed it at my chosen retailers, and then they were, not widely available. So I didn't end up getting one. But when I saw these a few months ago, I guess now on White Mountain Knives, I jumped at the chance and picked one up. And I've got to say, I'm really, really glad that I did. I would feel like I really missed out on a great offering from Kizer, one that really stands out among their lineup if I had not gotten my hands on this. First off, let me tell you the size and weight, because that's one of the great things about this knife. It's definitely a full-size knife at like 8 3/16 inches overall. 3 9/16 on the blade, so that 16th over 3.5 could be an issue for some places. 4 5/8 on the handle length. It's actually just a hair over that, and 3 3/4 inches of grip area, which for me and my large size hands works pretty well. You can see that the handle does sort of land in my palm, but it's reasonably comfortable sitting in that saber grip. A hammer grip is going to be a little better in terms of how much room you have, but I rarely use this way. The one thing I will say, pretty thin handle, so you don't have a good lot of space for a hammer grip. I considerably prefer a saber grip with this guy, and I know I'm getting into ergonomics and probably shouldn't be, but to get me back on track, here is the number that stands out. 2.5 ounces. 2.5 ounces for this knife. That's fantastic, right? For a knife of this size, rarely are you going to beat that number. That's because of the mostly carbon fiber handles. We'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. The only knife that I can think of is the Zero Tolerance 0707 that would have like a better size to weight ratio. 2.5 ounces for over an 8-inch knife is really, really great. Now, thinking of stuff that's really, really great, let's take a look at this blade. This is without a doubt my favorite feature on this knife. I love this blade. It is absolutely beautiful. Let me just pause this for a second. There's something in the fuller there. There we go. That's a little better. Now I can show off the blade, and everyone's like, what is that gunk in the fuller? So now I can show this off a little bit better. Look at that blade. Beautiful satin finish. Awesome tanto. I love these nice crisp tantos, and this one being a little pushed back is fantastic. The hollow grind here is great. The fuller is really, really nice, as well as the compound grind. All of the design elements come together on this blade to be one of the nicest tanto blades out there. This is absolutely gorgeous. Now, does it limit the utility? From a utility standpoint, you could probably argue that a more aggressive, a more squared off angle, I guess this would be more aggressive. A less aggressive angle would possibly be nicer for utility type tasks, but this is more of a gentleman's folder, and really this will do a lot of utility stuff. I have done some cutting with it and it works really well. The hollow grind and the thinness behind the edge make this thing slice like crazy. It's S35VN, so really a nice performing steel there. This blade is phenomenal, guys. It's thin, it's attractive, it's very, very fine on the tip here. So, you can if you're doing this kind of stuff, it works like a scalpel. This is, it's not what I would call a heavy duty blade. And you can see the blade stock is not super thick either. So while it's not heavy duty, it is a fantastic everyday carry type of blade. And whatever you're cutting, you're going to look really cool doing it because this is a beautiful, beautiful blade. In fact, I would say this is probably the nicest Tanto I've ever seen, and for sure the nicest blade on any Kizer I've ever handled. Really, really fantastic. So, am I a fan of this blade? Yes, absolutely. Now, obviously, if you don't like Tantos, you're not going to like it. But even then, being a little more swept back, I could see this appealing to someone who's not a real Tanto fan. Uh, the blade is one of the great features of this knife. It's wonderful. Let's move on now to the action. The action on this, it's a liner lock on bearings with a flipper tab. The flipper tab is comfortable. The action, or I mean the feel as it moves through this range of motion, very, very smooth. Whether I kind of do this with it, it just feels really, really nicely done, or give it a little shake and it will drop shut for you. The only little complaint that I have, oh, by the way, that fuller is substantial enough that I can get my thumb in there and roll this open. All right, and the liner lock is very accessible. The only minor complaint I have is I could wish the detent were just a little bit stronger. I like stiffer detents, so I've got to kind of let you know my bias there. A lot of the knives I have and enjoy, people will complain about the detent being a little too stiff. So take that for what it's worth. I'm trying to get, you may think this is exactly how a detent should be. I just like them to be a little bit stiffer. But overall, in terms of deployment, very, very enjoyable. Very easy, very quick. So no complaints at all in terms of how this deploys, other than that minor complaint about the detent. All right. Now, moving on to the handle. Again, well, I don't think this is quite as beautiful as the blade. It is a very attractive handle, and I really, really love this forged carbon fiber. They've done a nice job of it. You can see that there's nested liners in there, so there is stainless steel inside on both of these scales. Very minimal construction. So we've got standoffs here, milled titanium pocket clip, which, by the way, works extremely well. It is single position, so I know that's going to be a problem for the lefties out there. Maybe they'll offer this in a left-handed version. The Torx screws are going to be T6s, so a little bit small. But this is a pretty small knife, and I would kind of call this more of a gentleman's knife or an EDC knife than perhaps some other options that are out there. So, the way this is put together, I really, really like. It's lightweight, it's simple, it's well done. Fit and finish is quite impressive. Now, ergonomics are fine. And the reason I only say fine is any knife that's very, very slim like this one is going to struggle a little with being super comfortable in hand. So what I would say is, for a knife that's as thin as this, it's got nice contoured G10 here. Wow, nice contoured carbon fiber. So for its size, it's very, very comfortable. All right. To get great ergonomics, something a little more hand filling is going to be more, I'm trying to give you a good example here. So something like this, this is the Riot Torrent. You can see this is a much larger handle. So it's really, really giving me a lot to kind of grasp onto, and that makes a big difference in terms of ergos, especially if you're going to work with that. But for its intended purpose, it's not meant to be hard use. It's not meant to be, something you're going to take out to the bush and start bushcrafting with. As an EDC knife, it's really, really good. All right, so let's get to some comparisons. I've got a few for you. In terms of, slim, higher end, nice looking folders made by overseas companies, the Real Steel Lynx here is very close. This is going to cost substantially more. I mean, maybe not substantially, but it's going to be a bit more. And the overall level of durability, this is a pretty beefy, overbuilt, heavy duty type of knife. But in terms of something where you're getting good quality overseas construction in a very attractive package, I think it makes a good comparison. I do have another Kizer here from the Vanguard series. This is the Kizer Justice. If you're looking for something more tactical, a little heavier use, this would probably be more in line with what you're looking for. Let's see, as would this. This is the Steel Will Apostate. Really, really interesting knife. So the Apostate, I find, gives me a lot of the nicer refined features that I look for on a higher end knife, but then it also is very confidence inspiring in a knife that's meant to work. So it walks a really nice line there, a really good balance. In terms of action, it's always nice to throw a Civivi in here. This, of course, is the Bull Mastiff. And the action on this is nice, but it's not as smooth as this. So that kind of gives you an idea. And we all know Civivi does a great job with their actions. And this is a little bit smoother. So that tells you how good it actually is. In terms of small, slim, gentleman style folders, let's throw in the Spyderco Swayback. Similar, a knife that's not really meant for hard use. It's more of a gentleman's carry, something you're going to be carrying with, when you're dressed up a little bit. And it also is very different. So I think the appeal to both of these is more about their design than necessarily their utility, although both can definitely do a good job as a cutting tool. What else have we got to throw in here? There's an Ontario Rat Model 1, just because everyone's very familiar with that. It happens to be a lighter lock with the peel and ply carbon fiber, which I'm not a huge fan of. Lastly, let's throw in something that I always mean to bring, but don't often have it. So I'm going to really try to go out of my way to bring the Formax in from now on for all comparisons, kind of make it a thing. I was doing it for a while and I sort of let it slide, but we're going to get back into it. So there is the Cold Steel Formax. All right. What are my conclusions? Well, if you've been watching up to this point, I'm definitely a fan, okay? This knife for everybody out there? Well, no, but it's definitely pretty cool. And if you want something that is really, really well done, one of the best examples of a Kizer that exists out there, I would argue. Lightweight, easy to carry, useful blade shape, super duper attractive, well put together, enjoyable action, very satisfying knife overall, something that you can really have a smile on your face when you're carrying. I think this is a great, great option. And of course, I think I already mentioned, weighs next to nothing. So you literally don't even know you've got it with you. Easy to recommend this knife if it's the kind of knife you're into. Now, if you only ever want to carry a Recon 1, then this is probably not your knife. But if you like some of that lighter EDC stuff, I think this is really something special where you can scratch that high-end, interesting, unique itch while still carrying something that's barely noticeable in terms of your own comfort. So great knife, absolute win for Kizer. Love this knife. It is not a problem at all to recommend. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll talk to you soon.